think, when it comes to microbes, viruses, bacteria, Lyme, co-infections, Epstein-Barr, parasites, you name it, the blanket statement is raising core body temperature, fevering is always going to be beneficial towards any infection or chronic condition, period. As far as you mentioned a little bit of time, we recommend 30 minutes. Obviously, if you're new to using this, we start a little slower. So walk us through application, time, temp, how to work up, how to, get more tolerant, so they can, get the max benefit.
Okay. So really, no matter how the patient presents themselves, we take the position that everyone's toxic. It's just the world that we're living in. And so we kind of go out, we approach it low and slow.
Yeah.
If I were your swimming coach and you never swam, and I took you to the pool and I threw you into the deep end without a life preserver, and then said, I'm going out for a cup of coffee or a smoothie, I'll be back in a half hour, where would you be, right? And so really the way, it's sort of a metaphor of how I look at it. If a patient presents themselves as very fragile, or very, very, very challenged with whatever their health issues are, then maybe for them what's appropriate is just to put a little toe in the water, just to feel on the shallow end, just to feel the temperature, to feel the depth, to take the mystery and the scariness away from the experience. And so for the first 2 weeks, and when you buy a sauna from us, we offer a 12-page reference guide, which basically covers a lot of things I'm going to talk about now. And it just gives you a reminder. It's yours. It's free. You can share it with your friends, and it's just the process of sort of starting to acclimate your body to the infrared experience. It doesn't take much for the body to receive the sunlight. We're built that way. We're wired that way. But if you haven't had the infrared experience working with infrared, we just want you to have a good experience in general. And so low and slow is our approach. And there's some caveats. And so our first goal would be to be in for 30 minutes. And the best time to do it is the early part of the day. So again, back to the ancients, when we lived in the fields, we woke up to sunlight, and that's what that sauna represents. We try to, emotionally direct our patients to not look at that sauna as a tool to get better, to really make them reflect on their illness. We want that sauna to represent love and abundance, and probably the best way you could ever treat yourself to that good feeling of health. And of course, that brings you back, at least from the emotional point of view. And so 30 minutes, we throw towels on the chair that comes with it. We throw towels on the footpad that comes with it. And then I usually use a little hand cloth. And as I'm sweating, the towels collect my sweat. I segregate them from the rest of my laundry when I wash it. So I cut down the possibility of the toxins that are coming out in my sweat. By the way, 85% of it's already been proven that they measured a drop of sweat on an individual in a hot rock sauna, a steam room, and an infrared sauna. And because of that bright vibration and the breaking of all of those bonds of the toxins, there's 85% more toxins in the drop of sweat from someone coming from the infrared sauna. That's how powerful it is. So the towels collect your sweat, we segregate them, we wash them separately so we don't get the toxins into our t-shirts and so forth and possibly reabsorb them. Part of the other protocols is to hydrate. It's super important to get lots of water. And so everyone, and you probably hear this every day, but doctor, I drink so much water, I could be a fish.
It's dead.
Yeah, exactly. The water they're drinking is not structured. It's not bioavailable. And so it's basically just passing through them.
Yeah.
And so just to ensure that you have enough hydration that it will stimulate sweating, we ask for the average adult to be drinking 8 to 10 ounces of water before, and again, 8 to 10 ounces after. The water before promotes sweating. The water after actually lowers your toxic burden. And so imagine you've gone to out camping and you've come to the lake, and you see that pristine water, it's super clear. Then you went and got a branch and you just took the branch and you kind of swirled up the bottom. The water goes from crystal clear to mucky. That's what happens when you get into that sauna. It stirs up all those and liberates all those toxins, and then they settle back down like in the pool. Or if you're using a binder, they're combined with the binder, and then we actually get them out of the body. And so water, hydration of water is super, super important. And when you stir it up, that toxic burden. Now remember, if you've already symptomatic, a lot of your organs are already compromised. They're working overtime. Your liver, your kidney, your pancreas, all these organs that are designed to filter out, they're already, kind of less efficient because they've been working so hard. And so using a binder takes the stress off the organ, and drinking water after sauna lowers the toxic load so that you're not burdening those organs to help get these toxins out. So those are some of the core things that we think about, wiping that sweat off, keeping the toxins off of us, doing the sauna earlier, hydrating before and after, using a binder before you start the sauna so that you already got this sort of the biosponge in your bloodstream waiting to catch that toxin when it gets liberated. So that's another big piece. And then starting off low and slow. Now, the last part of the information, again, this is in the reference guide that comes free with every purchase, is sort of the detox or recovery reactions that we prime all of our customers to think about. And those are lightheadedness, dizziness, lethargy, feeling a little tired, nauseous, maybe getting headache or some impairment with your vision or your hearing. These are all simple symptoms of detoxing. So now if, let's say your goal today, Scott, was to do 30 minutes, yet today, this morning, you got in sauna, you did it for 30 minutes and you felt great. Tonight, you prepare a meal or you go out for a meal and you don't know because you can't taste it, but the oil that was used in the food was just turning rancid. So now you've ingested a whole bunch of microtoxins, okay? Wasn't enough to upset your tummy, but tomorrow you get into sauna and you're 15, 20 minutes in and all of a sudden, whoa, it's like someone threw a brick at your head. Well, what happened between yesterday and today? That's the world we're living in because there's no meter that shows us, our internal toxicity level. The only way we know is when our body kind of pushes back. And those are those little symptoms that I mentioned just now. And so if you were feeling a little lightheaded or a little dizzy, nauseous, we stop the session, even if it's 20 minutes, your goal is 30, but even at 20 minutes, we stop, we don't push any further. You drink that second glass of water that dilutes that toxic burden. Usually within 5 to 8 minutes, that feeling starts to abate or go away. And then you can either hit the sauna, do it again later that day if you want, or you can pick it up the following day. But that's what I mean when I say go low and slow. You're kind of tiptoeing from the shallow end to the deep end, every day getting a little stronger, every day getting a little less toxic. So that's really the starting point and the reference points that we use when in our protocols.
Yeah, what about temperature?
So the default temperature is 130 degrees Fahrenheit when you turn it on. So that's usually where we start. And it does default to 60 minutes because we are treating people with chronic ailments. One thing that's unusual about our Thera 360 is that it does go up to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the hottest sauna on the planet. That again goes to the chronic challenge person. Then when we're trying to raise their core, you have to be in there for a hotter and a longer session in order for you to achieve that heavy metal and or the hypothermia to go after some of these overgrowths of bacteria or viruses or parasites and so forth. Yeah. And so you can't get to 160 or 170 degrees for an hour on your first session, not if you're really toxic. And that's why we kind of go low and slow. And it may take 4 or 5 weeks to actually get to the deep end of the pool in a sense, but that's the healthy way to do it.
Yeah.
You know this.
The long methodical way is the right way.
Yeah. Well, You know, I often fashion it like climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
When you get symptomatic, it's like you're at the top of the mountain when that symptom occurs, but you got to that mountain one step at a time. You got a little toxic every day. And really, even with most diseases, that chronic diseases, the reason why you're experiencing a symptom is because you're toxic. Okay, so that's interesting. And we've been so passionate to the Lyme industry in general, but we've taken Lyme patients just with sauna and using the zeolite and got them asymptomatic in 4 weeks. Now, it's not getting rid of the underlying source and the problem,
Right.
but it is giving them a lot of their life back because a lot of their symptoms are starting to go away, which gives us a lot of time as practitioners and health providers to really work on this underlying source when, again, when you're chronically ill, you're sick of being sick. And so, I spend a lot of time coaching and telling people, slow down. I know you're getting results, but, getting up the mountain was one step at a time. And the healthy way to come down the mountain is one step at a time. And so that, I think, is an important
Amen.
message for
Amen to
everyone
that.
listening.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, what about children? Can they, at what age do you feel like it's appropriate to start applying this?
Great, a great question. Little people's bodies, they work a lot faster. Their metabolisms work faster and they're much more responsive. So, we've had 14-year-olds that are 6 feet and 180 pounds, and a 14-year-old that's 4'10" and 80 pounds. So usually for us, 5 feet or shorter, or 100 pounds or 110 pounds or less is where we kind of is where our like tipping point is. And so if you're smaller and lighter, less heavy, then we assume that you've got a very active metabolism. And so where I would start an adult off at 130 for 30 minutes, a child I might start at 110 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to maybe 20 minutes at most. Of course, if it's an adolescent or a child, I would always want a parent present. And I'd also want to tell, if the child communicates, I'd want the child to know some of these symptoms. So the parents should be checking in with the child and saying, hey, John, are you feeling okay? Everything going all right over there? If you don't feel so good, just let me know,
Yeah.
Most of the kids want to be like parents. So if you're a parent and you're using sauna, they can't wait to get in the sauna. If it's a little boy, it's their fort, it's their tent. They can't, they're just already imagining, conquering and, you know, cowboys and Indians and, all the things. Well, maybe they'll do that. These probably video games like GTO or
Right.
something like that. But yeah, anyway, that's the story there. We've had mothers that have, truly infants. I'm talking about less than a year old, ask the same question. And they go in the sauna with the infant, they're holding them.
Yep.
And so think about that whole bonding experience of having that child with you when you're going through, even through that. It's just a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
so it's really for all ages. You just need to modify the approach so that it's appropriate for the size of the person and the weight of the person. And again, whether it's a child or an adult, you have to hydrate, maybe a little less water. So a child would be 6 to 8 ounces, and an adult 8 to 10. And be cautious of the signs and the signals of detox, and don't overdo it. The beauty about having the portable sauna in your home is you can do it whenever you want, every day, twice a day. Okay. And we have protocols for weight loss. We have protocols for sleep challenges. We have protocols for detoxing. We have protocols for optimal health people that are weekend warriors. So there are multitudes of approaches to take with the devices that we make.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yes, absolutely. Um, and we just had a question come in as far as, kids having their head in the sauna, put them on a booster, just get their head up out of there, the best you possibly can. Or if they're even younger, like you mentioned, be in there with them, let them sit on your lap, make it a fun time, read a book, let the time, that 10, 15 minutes go by a little faster for them. Super important. And, working with kids, they heal amazingly. They respond so quickly. And, I would rather work at prevention than trying to, recover from all the mess that we've been exposed to, and also even just through our own choosing and lifestyle, what we've done to our bodies. And so that's why I've always loved working with children. So can children use the heating pad or the healing pads? And would the sauna and the healing pads both help skin issues like dermatitis, or just for detox purposes? Real quick, Lisa, on that one, absolutely. I mean, it's the pads are the same technology, delivered a little different. Today, I chose to sweat by using my pad and not getting in the sauna because I wanted to lay down and rest and recover. And I definitely sweated. I fevered for sure, which was awesome. And now I feel practically normal now, which is great. So I don't like to separate conditions, dermatitis, skin issues, or just for detox purposes. We typically don't have these chronic conditions without the toxicity issue. So therefore, I focus on the toxicity and sources of toxins more than the symptom that is associated with the condition. That we want to heal with the symptoms starting to decrease, and that's why I never focus on the diagnosis per se. It's really the toxicity effect at the cellular and organ level that we are dealing with, and this is applicable for everybody.
And toxicity and inflammation travel together on the same highway.
Absolutely.
So if you lower toxic burden, you lower inflammation and help the body heal.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. One of the big questions that we haven't covered yet it was, does the sauna emit, or does the pads emit EMFs?
Oh my goodness, how could we forget that one?
Right, I know.
So let me see, 15 plus years ago, I had this dream or this notion that an EMF is a electromagnetic field, and it's basically emitted or generated from anything that is either plugged into an alternating current, like our electrical socket, or is battery operated. So I got caught up in the understanding of that, and I thought to myself, well, here I am working really hard to deliver full spectrum infrared frequencies from the sun. They're natural, but yet the device plugs into a wall. And so there's sort of a struggle or a contradiction with the way the body interprets EMF, which are exogenous man-made frequencies that oscillate 80 times higher than your body frequency, and then receiving the natural frequencies of sun energy. How does the body reconcile sort of defending and warding off EMF and at the same time receive the benefit of full spectrum infrared? And that was my notion back 15 plus years ago, probably 16 years now. Of course, I wasn't thinking forward that the cell phone industry would blow up and Bluetooth everything and wireless this and that, but I did appreciate the conflict that your body would have. And so what I thought was, I don't really know, but what I do know is if I take EMF off the shelf, off the table, off the discussion, away from the conflict of the body, then I know what you would get is more in an abundance of what I'm trying to deliver, which is these natural sun energies, Yeah. And so we actually worked really hard and developed our own unique ways to block and shield EMF that are still sort of cool, even today. I mean, they're amazing, but it's not enough, Scott. And that's actually brings me to one of my latest inventions that I'm super stoked about. So basically, most ways to remediate EMF and also ELF, which is extreme low frequencies that are going to become more important in the future. We already have developed ways to fix it now, but most people aren't focusing on that yet, and they will coming forward. But EMF, for today's discussion, basically blocking and shielding is what's called reactive, meaning that they come up with 3G networks or stuff like that. And so we dial up our remediation to block and shield 3G. As soon as we get that completely integrated, they come out with 4G. Then we got to dial it up again, and then they come out with 5. Today we have 5G. The military is already using 7G, and in foreign countries, they're already using 10G. So this is where it's going. I mean, this is the beginning of that whole journey, and in these frequencies that I think will prove to be not so healthy for us. Uh, but unfortunately, the companies that make these devices, the money is in making a faster network so people can game faster and search faster and all that kind of stuff. And they're not really focusing on the health detrimental aspects of it. And so that's my job. That's your job. That's our job to do that, to protect our families, our kids, and protect our you know our networks and so forth. You know, our patients. And so the latest technology that we're utilizing is what's called harmonizing. And so we block, shield, and now we harmonize in all of our technologies. And harmonizing really speaks to our body field, our body energy. What I keep referring to about the body battery, about these, you know, our whole neurological system is based on a low current that sends a signal, electrical signal from nerve ending to nerve ending. That's how we communicate to our muscles and organs from our brain, the commander, to tell us what to do, how to function. So when we're not electrically balanced properly, again, it starts to go back to cell health. So a cell's got to be balanced electrically too. And so harmonizing supports your body field, your body energy. And so whether you're in 3G, 5G, 7G, 10G, 12G, it doesn't matter, because what I'm building is a strong, like, sort of bubble or field around you of your own body energy that will shield you from all of these harmful frequencies. And so we developed that technology. We're already installing it and integrating in all of our devices. It's our latest uh, technology or technical advancement. Nobody else is doing it on the planet yet. Certainly, there are other harmonizing technologies out there, but
Yeah.
nobody is integrating it into infrared sauna. And I think eventually people will get there, but I don't really look behind me. I always look ahead. And I think that's why we're kind of considered leaders.
And the question is this new tech in the new sauna yet?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
It's in all of our devices.
Yeah. So, and another question is, if I have a few, 3, 4 year old sauna, or in my case, even older, do I need to replace my sauna? I'm certainly, one that's like, yeah, I want to keep using it. But, what would you tell somebody that, they're 3 years into a sauna that they purchase? Obviously, yes, the new technology, but what are some of the ways that you help them remedy the fact of not, purchasing a whole brand new unit, that type of thing?
Okay, well, great question. And what I have done is I provided a solution for that. We are a solution-based company. And so if you bought a sauna, even, yours is a little older, but even if you bought a regular one of our Thera 360s, um, you'd get most of what the Thera 360 Plus has in it. And we are making available at our cost to upgrade. So if you have a regular sauna like your sauna, if you wanted to upgrade to the Thera 360 Plus, you could buy the upgrade kit and install it yourself for only $200. So, which is the
Yeah.
cost of the Trilight panels that we developed to do. So we could show you how to do that. We've got videos that show you how to do it, and it takes about maybe 10 minutes to take out the old part and install the new ones. And then we've got a team of specialists that are available to walk you through it if you don't feel comfortable with it. So we do all of that. And now there is some difference that the older units don't have that the Thera 360 Plus does have, and that's the remediation techniques we've installed. We've had to rewire and reshield everything in the 360 Plus, and that also will remediate for extreme low frequencies, which is what's called dirty electricity
Yeah.
out there. And I think that's going to become more important moving forward. In our research, we're seeing things. And so I wanted to be the first on the block to be able to remediate this and protect all of our customers. So that is a big change for people like yourself that your unit's a little bit older. It might be to your advantage to virtually upgrade to that 360 plus, the Thera 360 plus. But certainly whatever your situation is, we are available and more than open to help you guys transition.
You had mentioned that UVs damage and the infrared heals, but is it possible that UV rays balance everything out? In other words, do we need to break down damage with UV rays and then repair and heal with infrared, or is that missing with these infrared saunas? Like, how does that balance between, we have nature, obviously we have UV rays for a reason. There's a purpose for life,
Oh yeah.
but we also have the infrared. So where's that balance come in?
Okay, so remember we're talking about overexposure. So there are some UV has three wavelengths: UV A, B, and C. UVC doesn't even hardly come into our atmosphere through the stratosphere. It's actually the part of the ozone layer, and it's used. UVC is used to. It's very harmful for life on the planet. That's why it's actually outside. Doesn't really get to the earth, but it is used in hospitals when we had Ebola and many of the viruses and bacteria and so forth that were harmful. They were using UVC frequency to actually sanitize and sterilize the hospitals and things. So it's used in the food industry to kill bacteria from foreign foods that come in from country to country, stuff like that. UVA and UVB are the ones that are of concern. And the 420 to 440 nanometer frequencies are the ones, when you're overexposed to them, can actually alter your DNA and RNA. That's where the harmful part comes in. That's what could cause potentially a melanoma or a carcinoma or some kind of a skin challenge there. Whatever that damage is would be repaired by using infrared frequencies if you got overexposed to that. So now there are so many. They call the UV spectrum the nurturing spectrum. So it does change your pH. It does produce the natural. It does allow the body to produce naturally vitamin D3, and so those are super important. I mean, vitamin D itself, it's called a vitamin, but it actually acts like a hormone. You know that, and it's so instrumental in so many things. So, and many of us are deficient, even though we get sunlight because we use blockers, we don't get enough vitamin D to actually get our levels up. And I mean, the FDA suggests between 35 and 50 units of vitamin D is enough for a healthy person. Science suggests that 85 to 100 level is going to drive pathogens out of the body. And so I'm very big on D and sunlight. And living in Florida here, like they tell you, you have to lube up with some kind of sunblocker before you go outside. And I mean, when you put sunblocker on, you're blocking everything.
Right.
So,
Right.
At the minimum, you should be doing at least 30 minutes of natural sunlight before you put a blocker on. But, I think that UV is important. You shouldn't be worried or nervous about UV light. It's an essential frequency that we need every day to be healthy, just like
Yeah.
infrared. It's really the overexposure to it, and you kind of know it because you get rosy. You're kind of a lighter complexion than me, and so actually your melanocyte, which is in your skin, produces melatonin, and melatonin is the element of your skin that gives you color. It's actually your natural.
And I tan. I get really dark when I'm
You do?
in
That's
summertime
perfect.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's your
Sun dome.
natural. That's your
Yeah.
natural sun blocker. Is
Yeah.
actually that tan.
And that's the thing is toxin. Everybody. Like the topic you were talking about. It's the toxins and the disruption of the cells that are dangerous when you expose them to UV, not UV causing the big C.
Right.
And so, that's a big wrench in the system's message when it comes to protection, and why detoxification and getting these, toxins out of our lives is so important.
Yeah. So it really goes back to the beginning where we started tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a good primal base, do some certain things, good water, good air, clean or close to organic food that you can, no GMOs if you can, and just get infrared, get this infrared spectrum into your body.
Yeah. Are healing pads full spectrum or just red light and near infrared?
They are everything we make is full spectrum.
Full spectrum. All right. Are the healing pads safe for an individual with mercury amalgams?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Um,
so I mean, super important, right? The one key thing we will always say is first remove the source, then you remove the residual effects of that source, right? But by all means, you can start the process even with an amalgam in your mouth.
what's nice about the pads as a compliment is sort of like the sauna is a full body experience, like a floodlight, where the pads are more like a spotlight, where you can bring it right to an organ or right to a muscle group or a joint where you're experiencing some kind of pain or recovery from surgery, something like that.
Yep.
And so it's all the same technology. It's like you said earlier, it's just a little different delivery system.
Yeah, and you talked about the mini and the small pads, and one of the topics you had here was just applications. We love it for whether it's castor oil packs. So the mini is perfect right over the liver area, right on that right rib cage. I love my small pad. My wife, my daughter, they use it whether it's menstrual cramps, low back pain, you name it. It's awesome. And also, coffee enema and infrared sauna or infrared therapy through the pad delivery system are my top two things that I would have anybody ever do. And they're most cost effective and efficient when it comes to just mega benefits by applying those two things that can be done simply at home. So if anybody's out there dealing with complex challenges and you're not incorporating those two things, um, make sure you start. And if you have questions, reach out, ask. We do this every single day and talk about these topics and some of the key pieces that can help maximize those therapies at the same time, including binders and other supportive ways to help minimize symptoms of detox. So those are some of the applications that the pads are really good for, that we've used for many years. So
We
people
also
love
have
them.
another one that I can share with their viewers that uses bentonite clay, and we make a like a mud pack,
Yeah.
and then you you basically you make like a it's almost like a cookie dough out of the clay using we use an aloe vera based liquid to create the paste. Then we cover the area that we're trying to heal,
Yeah.
um, and then you use the infrared pad to basically drive the bentonite clay into the skin, and it basically draws the poison and the toxins out. So it's another super effective
Yeah,
technique.
and I've done that in my journey also with the med clays, so it's
Yep.
pretty good stuff. Can you real quick talk about the ozone generator for the sauna?
Nice. Oh yeah, I was happy that you brought that up because about 3 years ago, I had this notion that it's not just good enough. Like here I am, Dr. Scott, I have you in that sauna for 30 minutes, ideally, right? And you're doing it every day. What other kinds of interventions, other health attribute, other else benefits that I can do to really dial up that experience for you? So what's beautiful about the sauna is that, you can unzip it in front, you can bring your hands out, you can read, you can type like my wife does, answers emails,
Yeah.
you can use your clicker and change the music or the TV, whatever's on the TV if you want. Even use your cell phone or your tablet because the sauna will actually protect you from any of the fields that might be coming in from those devices. So my notion was, what other things can I bring into that cabin? And one of the first one was the ozone device. And I have a little, I can show the viewers here what it looks like if you can see it, how well you can see that. But you can see it like next to my cell phone. It's basically almost the same size, just a little bit thicker, right? And what happens is that the regular oxygen comes through, is pulled through the device in the back, and there's inside here, there's a specialized light bulb that I made. And when the O2 from the air comes over that light bulb, it fractures the O2 into unstable O1s that come out the front. And when they come out the front, they marry up with the O2 that's hanging out over here to create an O3, the definition of ozone. So remember earlier we talked about the importance of oxygenating your blood as an anti-aging and also antimicrobial and antiviral kind of remedy, right? And so my concept was, how do I get more oxygen into your bloodstream? Well, you're sitting in the sauna, you're getting the near frequencies from the full spectrum, And in the 360 plus, you're getting the extra near frequencies from the tri-light red light system that we installed. Okay. It's generating nitric oxide that's creating vasodilation, so you're moving blood around. And it's also triggering your blood to grab more oxygen when you make it available. Well, guess what this little guy does? It generates 750 milligrams per cubic inch per hour in from this device. So it's perfect for a portable sauna, your car. It'll kill airborne viruses and bacteria. So it sanitizes. It'll be good for a bathroom. It deodorizes in your kitchen if you're making something with garlic. My wife likes to cook with garlic, so that
Those that
smell.
love bone broth fasting and
Oh
spouses
yeah,
hate the smell of bone broth in the crock pot.
there you go. There you go. So it's not expensive. It's completely portable. It's got multi-purposes, but it was designed to be put on the floor of the sauna to bring extra oxygen into the cabin so that when your blood and your body is primed, remember now, once you start sweating, um, your skin, which is your largest organ, becomes a breathing organ. So you're sweating out toxins, but you can breathe in things. And so extra O was one thing we did. The other thing we did was we made a diffuser, which is an atomizer for essential oils. So an essential oil is really the basis that all medicines are made from.
Yep.
So you basically same thing. It's portable. You can take the top off here. You put in your oil right in the top here. Then you put the top on. You hit the button, and basically put this on the floor of the cabin. Again, your skin is breathing these essential oils in, which is just like taking medicine right into your bloodstream. And when you're not using in the sauna, you can use the fragrance to, in your home, in a car, in, your hotel room and so forth. We travel with this stuff. When we used to fly, we're not flying that much these days, Dr. Scott, but
Yeah.
when we used to fly, we would take out this little ozone device and put it right between our seats, my wife and I, and we basically be breathing this air, the sanitized air that's being, recirculated inside the plane, just with this guy alone. So um, we stack these. It's called stacking when you put these other devices together to create a greater health effect than just what one can do by themselves. Um, the other thing we do in the sauna is we do guided meditation. So there's a device you can wear that's like a headset that gives you an affirmation. So I usually sauna very early in the morning, around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And so it's peaceful. I can set my intentions. I pray and I ask for thankness, for what I'm grateful for, and do my meditation and so forth. And so I love wearing my headsets. I love using all these devices while I'm in the sauna, incorporating all these benefits. And boy, after 30 minutes of all that, Dr. Scott, you come out and you really feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So this is an add-on to the sauna. It doesn't come with the regular sauna, but it is an extra add-on. And as you mentioned, a low cost, along with, getting essential oils in. So somebody, even say having some breathing challenges, things like eucalyptus, getting in the sauna, getting your ozone, oxygen. We also use a liquid stabilized oxygen for the same purpose of reoxygenating the tissues, which has been phenomenal. So not only are you getting it from the outside in, we're getting it from the inside out. So we have many solutions. And one of the questions was, what's the difference between, Shop Vibrant Life and then, directly with Therasage? Well, just as, hosting this webinar, we're definitely, making sure that you guys get just, top-notch quality information from Robbie, but also from a practitioner standpoint. I take it very personal to make sure that people are supported, whether I'm working with them directly as a client. Robbie and your team, you guys do the same thing. It's not about products and things like that. It's about the technology, the support, the knowledge, and making sure we educate people. And that's our purpose. That's our job. But beyond that, there's many people that may be listening that have further challenges that they're really seeking help for, and this can be a piece of that. But now it comes, what we were talking about, the art and the protocols and the phases and the support, the emotional support. I've been through this journey myself, and that's one reason why I coach people all around the world. That's what I do every day. And so That's, one of the reasons why we're doing this webinar for sure.
Right. And it's the core relationship between us. So I don't do what you do, and I don't want to do what you do.
And
Okay.
I don't want to do what you do, unfortunately.
Exactly. And that's why we complement each other and why it's so important that we support one another.
Yeah.
And we have, we do offer some consulting on how to um, integrate our devices in development, but many people out there aren't lucky enough to be working directly with you, Dr. Scott, honestly. They're kind of alone with it. But in the way that we work together, you are the main practitioner. You're the quarterback, and I'm just a player on the field. I'm one piece of the puzzle. My whole universe, I focus research development on bringing the best infrared integrated devices available for the price to the market and the complementary products and or devices. And my goal would be, like I said earlier, would be to, you know, educate you and your network as best as I can. But if
Yeah.
all I did was educate you so that you could become my voice in what I'm doing, I'm perfectly satisfied because you're really the front line.
Yeah,
And
no, absolutely, and that's why we have our website. I mean, it was set up mainly for our direct clients, but even for general public because I field questions, and that's super important. Of how do I get the best products and put those things together. And if somebody needs more help with that, then that's why we have our coaching programs, and you can find out more about that on thrivehealthcenters.com. If you have more questions as far as how does that work, how do I work with clients, make sure you set up a free discovery call. But when it comes to the infrared products, the sauna, the pads, I mean, these are things we've been using, personally and with clients for, like I said, 7, 8 years now. And Robbie's been in this game for a long, long time, and just super appreciative of you being here with us tonight. I know we've gone over, but man, we've kept our crowd around for the most part. So that's why I actually just kind of let's just keep going. We're slowly starting to drop off. It's getting a little late on the East Coast, a little late here too.
well, it's two
But
hours past my bedtime right
yeah, right,
now.
exactly. Yeah, my goal is like I got to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and it's cutting into that. But that's awesome. But yeah, so any last, I know we have a lot of other questions that we just couldn't get to tonight, just for being respectful of time. Feel free to directly email me if you are like, I have to get this question answered, by all means. And that is thrivehealthcenters@gmail.com. That comes directly to me. Obviously, if you need to get the quick start guide, Robbie, what's the best way? If they didn't have that, or they need that, what's the best way to get in hold of you?
Oh, well, you can go directly to our website. That's www.therasage, spelled THERASAGE.com. You could dial into our hotline, which is 888-416-4441. Or you can email info @therasage.com. Of course, they can contact you and you can
Yeah,
contact me, but if they needed to come direct, that's how they could get to me. And
absolutely.
then our staff, our team will be happy to help you in any way, any questions you have. And then, of course, there's you and I and the way we integrate with each other.
Yeah.
And so, collectively, we'll make sure all the questions get answered and cares and concerns are addressed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So pads hopefully in a few weeks here, maybe just in time for Christmas. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
I know I need some upgrade and some replacements, as do others, for sure. But yeah, so we have recorded this, and I believe that it will be available on demand if you had registered, which if you're listening right now, you have. But we will make sure that that's available. Any of our current clients, you will also find the recording in your member area on our website. So we will make sure that everybody, if they had to cut out early or for whatever reason weren't able to join us after registering, we'll do the best we possibly can to make sure that we get this recording and information in their hands. So, any last remarks, Robbie, before we head out for the night?
Wow. I'm just like I'm ending the way I started. I'm so grateful to be here, to be alive, and to be available. You know, there was a point in it, you know, for me, it was 5 or 6 years ago, there was a big shift in our family. And I became sort of acutely aware of how important and how fragile life is, and how important the time we spend and who we spend our time with, and so forth. You can't get time back. Money can come and go and all that stuff, but you can't get the time back. And so it was super, I'm so super grateful for to be here tonight. I think we covered a lot of ground. And I see myself mostly as a vessel to sort of keep working on my research side, keep integrating my knowledge and the upgrades and the technology we're making with, you know, high-end practitioners like you, and so that you can communicate that to your network. And I'm just so grateful that we've known each other, been friends for so many years, and that we can share this knowledge and the benefits of all this with our families and with our communities.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, I came out of a mess, a challenge, severely sick, you know, and it was about a year later, I found out about your products and I'm like, well, give me everything, because if it helps me, it's going to help a lot of people. And that was 8 years, 7 years ago. So here we are. And it's just awesome to be able to connect with you. I got to get to South Florida, but you've been getting a lot of rain down there lately. So hopefully when it gets a little colder up here, I'll be getting my sunshine and my toes in the sand down there.
Yeah, and I'll have a chance to show you some of my hacks, the ones
There we
that
go.
haven't come out yet. So
There
yeah,
we
that'll
go.
be fun.
I've been meaning to get the Boca, but I just haven't yet. So, but anyways, well, I just want to just reiterate that we are so grateful for everybody joining us tonight. Just an awesome crowd. I just loads and loads of questions, great topics. I know, like I said, we couldn't get to every single one of them, but I think we covered a lot of the big areas of infrared that really does matter. Some of the key pieces that I feel like a lot of people do miss, which can change their outcomes dramatically. And that's why I do what I do every day by working with clients, is to be an extra set of eyes. I've lived it, I've learned it, I've made the mistakes, you name it, along the journey. And that's why it is so important to make sure you're surrounded by people that can help you through this process, because it is very complex, but we're here to simplify it as best as we possibly can. So with that being said, we just appreciate everybody. Make sure you reach out in all the avenues that we mentioned before, whether it's email or directly through the websites. Yeah, everybody have a wonderful, blessed evening and rest of your week. Take care. Be healthy.